What's good? It's your boy Fanon. All right, man. I'm going to talk about Dillian White, Jarrell Big Baby Miller, and Anthony Joshua. And man, it looks like Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua's arrogance and cheapness is really going to come back to bite these cats in a very embarrassing way. Now, there's a report came out that Joshua versus Miller's talks are on White on April 13th, date improbable. Now, as we know, back in July, June or July of last year, they announced when their next couple fight dates were going to be. That Anthony Joshua was going to fight in September, and then he's going to fight in April. But for the April date, they have not been able to find an opponent. That is absolutely crazy that Anthony Joshua cannot find an opponent for April 13th as a result of consistently lowballing and trying to underpay people for the fight. That is it. That is absolutely crazy. Now, I'm going to get into this and what was said. But before I do that, I want to welcome subscribers back to the channel. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And also when we do the live streams in the morning, right around 10:15 a.m. Central Standard Time. And also, I'd hope that you would attend. And also, check out the Patreon. We got a lot of non-boxing conversations that we're going to be doing on Patreon. And some of them, a little bit inappropriate for YouTube with the community guidelines here. And over on that platform, we can get a little more free to discuss them the way that I would like to discuss them. Now, let me go through this. This article is from Phil J. He starts quoting a promoter for Dimitri Salta, who's Jarrell Miller's promoter in the United States. He said, "We've had talks with Eddie Hearn regarding a fight between Jarrell Miller and Anthony Joshua. At this point, it's hard to judge. It's hard to judge at what stage they are. I get a feeling that Dillian White is a strong consideration." Asked if June 1st was the likely date should the firm agreement be made, Salter replied, "Jarrell versus Joshua would be one of the biggest fights in boxing. It will happen at the right time. Boxing history will determine when the right time is," right? Now, the article then moves on to talk about Dillian White and the fact that Dillian White was first offered £3 million. Then a follow-up offer was made for £4 million to Dillian White for the fight. And next, the offer was increased to £7 million for a fight with Anthony Joshua. And then the understanding of this article is that Dillian White is holding out for £7 million, right? £7 million for a fight with Anthony Joshua. Also, that Tyson Fury's coach, Ben Davidson, had criticized Hearn, and I think this has to be Joshua, for consistently lowballing the top fighters in the division, right? So you had Tyson Fury, who also had a report came out that the offer that he made, that Eddie Hearn made to Tyson Fury, was less than what Tyson Fury thought he was worth. And of course, there is a rich amount of history about the offers that were made to Deontay Wilder basically, as Lennox Lewis referred to it, as a paycheck, to a bigger paycheck, to a lower cut than he's asking for, and the whole nine, right? Now, I did videos before about this topic and how, man, I believe that the plan was always Dillian White for April 13th. I believe, and I still believe the plan is for Dillian White. But now we are getting to the point where this is January 29th. That's 6 weeks. That's roughly, April 13th is roughly 6 weeks away. Roughly 6 weeks away. Now, I'm sure that Anthony Joshua himself is already in training camp. But Dillian White, if Dillian White is not in training camp, how can Dillian White be ready in six weeks for a fight with Anthony Joshua? And I know he's been very, very active. But how do you promote a fight, get it sold, get all that, do the press tour that Great Britain's not that big, and that's primarily where it will be sold. So I guess a couple dates, but you're really running up on time where there's not enough time to do it. If they say that they're going to announce the next, it's supposed to be this week that he announced it. I still believe, like I said, I still believe that this is going to be Dillian White for several reasons. The biggest reasons being money. And if they have Jarrell Big Baby Miller in the United States, that tells you something about the money that's being made that they're making over there in the UK. But the point of this video is this. How in the world can you get turned down? How can you be the most popular fighter in your country, right? And you're supposed to be this big mega cash cow for boxing, but you can't get the top heavyweights to agree to the money that you're paying them to fight. This is not just Deontay Wilder now. If it was Deontay Wilder, you could say, oh, it's Deontay Wilder. It's just Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder's financially unrealistic, right? But look what happened with Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder went from first of all, offers to fight Dillian White. That was the first thing that was coming from Eddie Hearn. Then an offer for when it eventually came to making offers for Anthony Joshua, it went from 12.5, then it went to 15 million. Supposedly, then it went to 60-40, right? Now you have I don't know what the details of the offer were to Tyson Fury. The words that were used by Frank Warren was derisory, laughable. Now you have the report on Jarrell Miller, which was it started at 3 million. Then it went to 4 million. Now it goes to 5 million. How about this? Why don't you start with what you think is the other person will accept? Trying to penny pinch people and make them go through these long, drawn out negotiations just for them to walk away on you? Well, that in your negotiations with the next person is going to make them stand even more firm. Because now Tyson Fury can say, hold on, man, Deontay Wilder. First of all, Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder have the ability to make money by themselves, right? So they've established the fact that they can hold pay-per-view events, financially successful pay-per-view events, without even dealing with Anthony Joshua. Then now you have Jarrell Big Baby Miller. No, excuse me, not Jarrell Big Baby Miller. Excuse me, but Dillian White, who's also in the same situation. Now he can say, look, I can also go sign with Showtime. I can also fight. I can fight on pay-per-view the winner of Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, right? I could be in position to be in the United States and be on pay-per-view in the United States. Why would I and now he said that he got offered 3 million pounds originally. That, according to Dillian White, was less money than he made fighting Derek Chisora. Why would somebody take a pay cut to fight Anthony Joshua? Right? Anthony Joshua versus any of these guys are one of the hardest fights that any of these guys can have. Aside from the fact that, the money involved in it, a fight with Anthony Joshua and giving Anthony Joshua his full credit is about as difficult a fight as any of these guys can have. For Deontay Wilder, there's probably not two other fights in all of boxing that's more difficult than him fighting Anthony Joshua. Now, he's just so happened to have already had those two fights, but still, that's a difficult fight. There's a chance that you can lose that. There's a chance you can lose your belt, right? Same thing for Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury, there's a chance he could lose to Anthony Joshua. Dillian White has already been knocked out by Anthony Joshua. Why wouldn't they want to get their biggest paydays? And you have got to see, I think that Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn might have upsold themselves, right? Or talked themselves up into a situation where now people's perceived value of them is much higher than maybe what it is, right? So there's got to be a reason why these guys don't think they can pay the money. Right? Besides unless they're just being cheap, right? Just think about this. Did you ever hear about this type of stuff going on with Mike Tyson fights? or this type of stuff going on with Floyd Mayweather Jr. fights, or even Manny Pacquiao fights, where guys that are the big cash, that are supposedly the big cash cows, or Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez never missed a fight date because he couldn't agree to any money, because he couldn't get somebody in the top 3 to take the money, right? That wouldn't happen to Canelo Alvarez. It's not happening to Canelo Alvarez. The worst that you've gotten is a little bit of a debate back and forth about Gennady Golovkin, and they wound up going what do they wind up going, 54-45 or something like that in a rematch. But man, it's just crazy with this thing, what's going on with this, man. Now, maybe it's a ploy I don't think it's a ploy. I'm not even going to go with this. This is just either one or two things. Either they really don't have the money, they're really not making the money that they're claiming, or they're just cheap. Or they're just cheap and being disrespectful to other fighters and really thinking themselves, really taking this A-side thing to a whole new level where they're not just the A-side, they're the only side. But anyway, it is what it is, and we'll see what happens. I still believe it's going to be Dillian White, and supposedly we'll hear about it this week. So I'll follow up with that. Now, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And with that, I'm out. Peace.